Garvey, we're going to go ahead and start with you. A couple questions and then we'll move on to Matt. What can we expect from a Bill Garvey run football program, both on the offensive and defensive side of the ball?
Well, really, hopefully just the same thing. I mean, the one thing we need to do better as a program, I think, is just be a tough football team, both mentally and physically. I think we're a fairly physical football team, but I think certainly on the mental standpoint of being just a tough mental football team, you know, we lost a ton of close games last year that Joe kind of referenced to, you know, and mentally, a truly mentally tough football team, you know, we pulled more of those games out than we did. So, you know, it's one thing that I think that, you know, when people come watch us play and the other teams and coaches in the office, you know, just say they're just a tough football team that will get after it every single week.
With the success you've had on the offensive side of the ball, how do you think you'll be able to translate what you've learned as the coordinator to being Bethany's head coach?
Well, you know, I don't know if I'll take anything besides just, you know, the same things of, you know, just preaching the competition. I mean, that's something we talk about from an offensive standpoint all the time, just compete. And we try in practice, you know, certainly from an offensive standpoint, when we're going against our own defense and everything, that's the one thing that we try and do is just create competition all the time. And we just want to bring that now. I can bring that to the rest of the team on all three phases. So I think that's the one thing that we'll just continue to try and do and just be competitive as we possibly can. Create competitive situations not only on the field but with recruiting and bringing in, you know, good talented people to create competition, which is the easy way to make it better, just create competition amongst your own players. You know, and then honestly, you know, from me being a coordinator the last 8 years, I guess, in my career, really it's more just take examples of the people I work with. You know, I work with a very good friend and a guy that just left Bethany and Tim Weir for the last 7 years, and then, you know, was at Harvard, and Tim Murphy, who, you know, is as an organized head coach as I've ever met. And then I started my whole career with Joe Garvey, who is as unique a person, the late Joe Garvey, as unique a person as you could find. So I'm just pulling all different things that I liked or didn't like from all those guys. So I think that's, you know, where all that stuff will come from.
Let's talk about the young man you have with you today. How have you seen your quarterback grow over the last 3 seasons? And what are you expecting from him this year?
No, he's grown a lot. You know, I mean, from a maturity standpoint, just as a person, you know, I mean, he's done a great job in the classroom since he's been at our place. You know, on and off the field, and on the field, you know, we expect everything from him. I mean, he's a 4-year starter. He was just recently named to a preseason All-American team. He's first team All-Conference quarterback. We expect him to play like that, act like that, and be that leader, and you know, take this team to the next level and be a consistent winner, which is something we really haven't done here.
You lost a number of 4-year starters to graduation a year ago. How do you go about replacing those players?
Well, honestly, hopefully we did. You know, the last 3 years of recruiting is how you replace them. Doing a really good job recruiting, and we think we've done that. We continue to bring in talented people over the last 3 years, and then, you know, just doing a great job coaching them up in the off season, and in the off season lifting program and conditioning, and then spring ball, and just getting them ready. So, but really, mostly from a recruiting standpoint, we think we've, you know, been able to recruit good, talented players to Bethany, and hopefully we're correct.
Coach, last question for you. With just one returning receiver and a pair of returning running backs, will we see more balance from Bethany's offense this year than in years past?
Well, I don't know if you'll see more balance. I mean, I guess you could really ask the guys sitting in this room, are they going to let us be balanced? You know, I mean, now 2 years ago, Matt's sophomore year, I mean, we were almost as close to 50-50 run pass as we could possibly get. And, you know, this modern day of college football where everybody seems to kind of swing it around a little bit. You know, and then last year with his ability to run the ball, people are now, you know, realizing that we run a good bit and put a few more people in the box. And certainly we're, you know, from a tight end standpoint, last year we really weren't, you know, really didn't play a tight end a whole bunch or a fullback, and we're standing for wideouts a lot. So that really kind of dictated who we're going to be as a program. But we would like to be as balanced as possible, and that's what we're striving for. We want to do. We want to be as close to 50-50 run pass to make us not so predictable. So. I guess the answer to your question is yes, we're going to try.
Entering the 2013 season as one of Bethany's senior leaders, What have the past 3 years helped you learn about yourself that's going to help you lead this team?
Well, as a team, we've grown over the last 3 years. When I first came in, we were losing games, 20, 30, even 40 points, and we've slowly cut down deficits. And like Coach Garvey said, this past year we've had a couple close losses, and hopefully with the skirmish we lost, we can come in and replace them and fill in those gaps we've been missing for the last 3 years.
I asked Coach Garvey to talk a little bit about you. Now, how about you talk a little bit about your relationship with Coach Garvey and how you feel about having him as your head coach?
Well, kind of like what he said, we've had a good relationship on and off the field for the past 3 years, and I think that's going to really help in the transition of him to head coach. Offensively, nothing really is going to change for us. We're still going to kind of do the same thing we've done for the past 3 years, and like you said, hopefully keep it 50-50 run pass and continue to do what we've done offensively.
We've heard about Bethany playing so many close games last season. How do you think that has helped prepare you going into this year?
Really, this past spring ball, that was one of our main focuses was, putting in the little extra things, whether it's conditioning in the weight room, 2-minute drill, anything that it takes to just get over that little hump and win the close games. That's our main focus, and then, like he said, just staying mentally tough as a team and win those close games. So that's what we're going to do this year.
On offense, returning for Bethany, our last year's top rusher, Phil Acree, and one of your top receivers in Eric Blinn. What are your expectations for those two players this season?
Well, Bill Garvey, hoping he can stay healthy. We had him and Brandon Hill as a running back tandem last year. They worked pretty well together, and to keep them healthy would help our offense a great bit, because instead of just running me, we could keep them in the run game 50-50. And same thing with Eric Blinn. I believe he finished second in the PAC last year in receiving, and he's only going to be a sophomore, so he's going to be a big contribution to our offense once again. And along with him, we have Chris Collins coming off an ACL injury, so he's been out for the past 2 seasons, but he's another good guy we get back off of injury that could make an immediate impact.
Last question for you, Matt. Your offense returns just one starting lineman from last year. How do you see yourself helping these new linemen coming in? How do you see yourself helping them out?
Well, it starts from the first day of camp, helping them, learn the offense, learn new players, just basically learn the whole system, feel comfortable, help them with anything they need, whether it's on the field, off the field, weight room, just kind of get them to fill in. We've had, over spring ball, we had about four new starters on the offensive line working in. We have Evan Sardo, and one returning lineman, who's been a big help, helping them feel comfortable and helping them, just kind of feel comfortable in the system and replacing the seniors that we graduated. So that's what we're hoping to do.
Well, we thank you, Matt and Coach Garvey. Bethany gets its season underway September 7th at Center. Thank you.